Up until the 1970s, 33,000 acres of prime land in St. Kitts were controlled by sugar estate owners.
These 50 families were backed by a British company that had established the Basse Terre sugar factory.
These lands were finally regained in trust for the St. Kitts people under the late Sir Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw.
It was in 2005, upon closure of the sugar industry,
that the Labour administration accelerated one of the boldest land reform programs of any nation.
Land in St. Kitts and Nevis has always been an issue. Historically, St. Kitts had become one of the gems in the British Empire. We were able to produce sugarcane as early as in the 17th century. And the fertility of the soil in St. Kitts created great wealth for the British planters. There was a time in this country, in my own lifetime, when the house that was allowed to be erected were thatched houses. They were the houses whose roofs were made from the stalk or the leaves of the sugarcane plant. And you could not own the land on which the house was erected. It was the Labour administration of former years that began the process of home ownership through land ownership here in St. Kitts. So when the government back in the 1970s took possession of the land, it was really doing so for the first time in the name of the people. The planters were to be compensated. The title for the land was being transferred into the hands of the government, who was holding it in trust for the people. And after the collapse of the sugar industry in 2005, the government now had to take a decision of ensuring that the land was properly distributed to the ordinary people of St. Kitts and Nevis. But more than that, the land had to be properly distributed as well for commercial development, large-scale industrial development if possible, pursuing the new economy that was being created through tourism and hospitality development, and of course, continuing to support the social and community development of life here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Closing of the sugar industry have not only adverse effect on me personally, because my husband became unemployed, but at the same time, if you had to look at the economical effect that it was causing on the Federation as a whole, you would say it was a good idea because we were running overdraft and the cost of producing the sugar was being so much more than the returns of the sugar itself.
From the city they're running in trouble, they shouldn't wait until they run into so much of millions of dollars of debt to finish with it. People say anything is because they don't know about the outside world and the common market outside.
The close of the sugar industry was timely. So now we have access to land. Now we can really go diverse the economy, go full force into agriculture.
I have something that burning on my stomach for so long. England should be paying back St. Kitts and other Caribbean countries monies for robbery and cruelty. They have caused our people to labor very hard for many years for next to nothing. I remember as a schoolboy going and weeding cane with my mother on the estate. And it's the biggest acre I ever see in my life.
Government's vision and policy is essentially very simple. It's based on two objectives. One is for the empowerment of the St. Kitts and Nevis nationals, and secondly, to improve the utility of the land mass in St. Kitts and Nevis to maximize productivity.
We created, when we took office again in 1995, the Freehold Village Land Act that made it law for anyone who was living on village land for the last 20 or so years to be able to take possession of that land free of cost. Why? Because we believed that the ancestors, the generations before them, had already paid for that land with the low wages that they were being paid, their blood, their sweat, their tears.
In 1998, we had Hurricane George that hit St. Kitts badly. And out of that, we lost quite a bit of our housing stock. And we were able to seek funding from the World Bank that helped us to construct some houses under the NEMA program. Housing was one area of serious concern to remove the slums and to uplift our people out of poverty. That is why we created the National Housing Corporation. Government has provided subsidy through duty-free concessions in making sure that we're able to reduce the cost of the house for those persons, especially former sugar workers and generally those persons at low wages in St. Kitts. The government agreed that all persons who worked in the sugar industry at least 10 years and those persons who did not have a house, and especially if those persons were not in management, should be helped with a house. The government was able to receive some funding from a friendly government to construct these houses.
These are sold to them at very subsidized rates, very subsidized rates. I mean, it's really a giveaway to the ex-sugar workers, but they're getting a substantial home. In the initial stages, we are now building 65 of them. We're going to be building about 19 here. We're going to be building at Cabbage Tree in Keon. I think it's about 20 there. In Buckley's, we're building about 20. And we're building in Keys and Connery.
Every citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis has a chance to become a landowner, given the fact that traditionally we were a landless people.
You're talking about the patrimony of the country. And so you can't give away land free, so what we have to do, we have to give land at a certain price to special groups. And the first group, we're calling them first-time owners, people who don't have any land. And so you're giving them the land at a special price. For the first 4,000 square foot, it is $295. Between 4,000 to 6,000 square foot, $395, and over 6,000 square foot, $695. If you're getting land at $295 and comparable land is $8, $9, $10, you see how much money you have made right away there.
Even though the price of the land is almost free, $2.95 a square foot, government has to make sure that infrastructure is placed in those various communities, because it will be unhealthy to have a housing project and yet the area is not provided with proper roads, drainage, water and electricity.
Now people are living where the cane used to grow. People have now moved out from the guts and the ravines and the hillside into nice, productive, flat, comfortable areas.
My name is Shani Sapsnan. I was given a piece of land down here at Sivio Inn. Yeah, welcome. Right now, so over there is my land, they call number 3. The Sivio Inn, you can welcome to the beach and the hills, the mountainside, you know. So I'm just thankful for the guys, them, to just come and assist me with this kind of piece of land and help me to get through, you know. As you can see, I have been qualified at number 3 lot at Keys Development. You see me?
Hi, my name is Suzette Hodge. This is really an opportunity for me as a young mother for owning my own home. Presently, I have a daughter studying overseas to become a medical doctor. She has now received a piece of land a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very proud for her. So whenever she finished pursuing her studies, she could build her own home. First, I filled the form out. I took it to NHC, and then a couple of months after, I got a response that I'm allotted to this number, and I must then pay this amount of money, and then I would get my keys for the house. I think people are really happy for getting houses and land. I think so. But it's good to own your home and your homeland. Next, please.
We have a lot of applications from overseas, not only in the US, England, Canada, but in the neighboring islands, St. Martin, to Atoll, USVI, Puerto Rico, and they make application. They get land just like anybody else. Once you are a Kittian or a division. It has nothing to do with your length of time in St. Kitts or abroad or whatever.
Actually, what I did, I applied through the Land and Surveys Department. I just sent in the application after the government advertised a special land distribution initiative, and then I got a letter after that saying that I have been allocated land, and here we are now. It is a dream come true, because before I never thought I would be able to get land, especially land in this prime area where you have such a lovely view. You know, you thought about it, getting land, but you know, you thought, okay, that's not for me right now, because I'm still kind of young. But actually, I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to acquire a piece of land, so I can now say I have my piece of the rock too. As long as you're employed, apply. There are opportunities there for each and every one of us to acquire our own piece of land.
We have built many housing programs, and each housing program is given a specific name. Solution 500 is the current housing program for the National Housing Corporation. We are going to build 500 houses around the island under this program. These houses would be given to low-income individuals to empower them in these economic times, and so that they too can have a part of the housing stock here in St. Kitts. We're looking at somebody's future. Somebody who have dreamed somewhere along the line to own a house, and their dream is now becoming a reality. And that dream may have been a generational dream. These are semi-finished houses. That is, there is no paint, no tiles, no kitchen cupboards. People can put their own personal touches on these houses to ensure that they have a finish at their satisfaction.
I am a single mother of 4. And the idea of a new house provides space and a sense of ownership to me and my children. So I'm looking forward to the move to Taylor's in my brand new house. I just got my keys, so we are now doing painting and tiling. So if you'd like to have a look, come on and let's go in. So the government had this initiative of the 500 program, where if you had land, they would build on your land for you. And I took the initiative, so it wasn't a long process, and it wasn't a gruesome processing where you had to provide them with lots of details and lots of financial information. So I took the 500 program, and this is what I got from it, a brand new 2-bedroom house. For me, I don't think it has initially sunk in that this is my house, but I know for my kids, they are really, really excited that we have a new place to call home, a place that is not leaking or something a place that they just feel comfortable in.
The land distribution initiative is really something that takes you around the entire island, starting from the Bastia area, Old Road, Virchals, Lamberts, Halfway Tree, Sandy Point, Newton Ground, St. Paul's, Date Bay, Parsons, Sadlers, Harris's, Tabernacle, Mansions, Christchurch, Molyneux, Lodge, Keon, St. Peter's.
No part of the entire island is being left behind in the overall national development. No one has anything to fear. No matter where you are in the country, you can get from one point to the furthest point in 30 minutes.
Not only on the residential side, we have ample opportunities created for persons who want to get into business. There's almost no limit to what people can do in terms of being creative at becoming entrepreneurs. We have from 2005 released 704 acres of land for commercial purposes.
The daycare centers have been built across St. Kitts. In fact, we have also built one on the industrial park here in Bastia in making sure that those parents can also have close connection during the course of the day.
We started about 13 years into landscaping, and then after having the problem of not being able to get a good supplier to keep on giving us our plant material that we would desire for our clients, we went into nursery. So we've been negotiating 6 years before the sugar cane was closed, but when we heard that it's going to be closed, we were excited because now we knew that something would have happened for us to obtain the land that we was requiring for so long. When Marriott first came to St. Kitts, the plant sales went up because everybody liked to see the landscape of how Marriott was looking. And the homeowners started upgrading. The small hotels that we have on the island started to upgrade.
We've worked with those who were not as strong in terms of presenting their business plans until they were presented in a format that proved workable. And so they were approved. And so it has been thought through deliberately.
I owned the Manhattan Gardens restaurant in Old Road. I had to move because of an emergency, and I wanted to continue my business. So I went and I asked where I can get some land. They advised me that I can go up to NHC where I got a piece of government land. And here I am now. You go and you ask a question pertaining to what you want, and your dream will come true.
The government has sold land to foreign direct investors in order to help in the transformation of the new economy that we are creating. It has been done in a very limited way, and we have seen lucrative returns to the country for that. Let us look, for example, at those public lands that have been sold to Ross University. Let us look at Windsor University, which has been sold some land, public lands as well. The lands in the Southeast Peninsula, which are the most important lands for tourism development, because that's where you have most of our beaches, that's where our birds are nesting. That land has been always in the hands of the private people, the private large families.
We also have environmental policy to also have a significant portion of our lands reserved for conservation. And that is primarily the aquifer in the Bastia Valley. Actually, most of the water that is supplied to the households and businesses around the Bastia area comes from that aquifer. Around the island, any land above the 1,000 feet contour is reserved as a national park.
The agricultural sector is critically important as one of the planks on which the new economy is being built. We therefore make no apologies whatsoever for the distribution of land to our small farmers. Some of those lands have to be large tracts. Some of those have to be 25 acres, 30 acres, 50 acres maybe, because some of those farmers are involved in livestock farming. And you need a certain amount of acreage in order to sustain what is economically viable. We do not sell these lands to these farmers. We are leasing these lands. In fact, all lands for agricultural purposes are being leased.
2 years ago, I got this land from government. This was one sugarcane land. This area is called Shadwell Estate. Okay. Yeah, this is about almost 9 acres of land here. Okay. Usually I grow sweet peppers, tomato, okra, watermelon. Try to grow, a little bit of everything. Actually. I farm practically all my life. I grew up in a farming community back in Newton Ground. I started part-time because I was working differently. I did construction. I was, did carpentry. I later on, went into it full-time. I think the land initiative is a good one. Farmers getting land, they'll be able to produce more food and to reduce the food bill.
The deal that the government offered was for present farmers who wanted more land to apply for more land, and they were able to do a proposal and access more land, and they were able to continue farming. Those who were not involved in farming were able to get lands because a lot of lands were distributed because of the closure, and a lot of persons are now self-employed. We asked for permission to grow peanuts on a big scale, and that's what we've been doing. We rotate with sweet potatoes and corn and any other crops.
Presently now we at Green Hill area. We're doing a lot of tree crops. We have like spice guava, we got star apple, we got sugar apple, we got custard apple, we got pineapple, just to name a few. In terms of food security, we cannot have enough farmers, we cannot have enough food because the more people produce food, the food become cheaper, understand? So it's more available in a wider range.
We have a memorandum of understanding with the Marriott Hotel, and right now we are currently doing some small business with 2 other restaurants and hotels. And if we come together, we can form a better linkage with the tourist industry.
What we want to do in the future that we're now planning, we're working on it, is to turn the farm into a tourist destination so tourists can come up and pick fruit.
There's a commitment to the people from the government, and the commitment would be seen through to its end. The program itself offers a chance for this country and the government to experience what it is to have a revolution.
We have a plan to develop another 1,000 houses across St. Kitts, and we're working towards making sure that we're able to do that for our people. An extension to the housing development at Cabbage Tree Extension, and this is it now, which carries over 200 lots. And over these lots now, presently persons within the Keon area and other areas. We have at least almost 3 acres of land that we are going to have as a park to help to develop the community, not just putting down houses, but we also want to build a little park so that the kids have some place to play.
My own challenge as the leader of this country was to complete what I believe was the revolution started by our first national hero, Sir, the Right Excellent Sir Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw. I imagine what was going through his mind in 1973-74 when he took possession of those lands. We are putting the lands into the hands of the ordinary people. It is part of our own stimulus package here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We are saying take possession of the land, invest further in it, create economic activity, and help us to get out of the doldrums that we find ourselves confronted with as a result of what's happening in a much more hostile global environment.